Welcome to Farming Aid.
America's appetite for beef has shaped the country for generations, but the ground under our food system is shifting fast. Rising feed costs, tougher weather patterns and a growing demand for healthier, more sustainable protein are pushing farmers to look beyond traditional cattle. What many people don't realize is that three remarkable animals are already stepping into the spotlight, offering meat that rivals beef while using far fewer resources. In this video we're diving into why these species are gaining traction, how they fit into the changing landscape of American agriculture and what makes them strong contenders to take over the role beef has long held. If you care about the future of food, this is a shift you'll want to understand. The story begins with the American bison, a creature woven deeply into the ecological heritage of the country. Long before cattle arrived, bison shaped the grasslands of the West through their migrations and grazing patterns. Their physiology is remarkably efficient. Bison convert tough prairie grasses into protein with minimal human input, and their digestive system handles fibrous forage that leaves many cattle losing weight. Modern ranchers who have switched to bison often talk about how little supplemental feed they need. These animals evolved to thrive in harsh winters, blistering summers, and landscapes where resources fluctuate. As climate instability becomes a chronic challenge for agriculture, that kind of resilience is no longer a luxury. It is a requirement. Bison meat also carries an image of purity. Most bison operations avoid the heavy grain finishing used in cattle feedlots because bison simply do better on grass. The result is lean meat with a clean, slightly sweet flavor that has won over chefs, nutrition experts and fitness enthusiasts. Restaurants increasingly feature bison burgers, steaks and sausages, not as a novelty but as a premium choice. Even grocery chains have begun treating bison as a mainstream product. As supply increases, the price gap between bison and beef continues to narrow. That alone hints at a future where consumers choose bison not just because it is healthy or environmentally friendly, but because it tastes good and costs a similar amount. Beyond the kitchen, bison fit into a broader shift in land management. Ranchers facing drought and soil degradation have found that bison revive grass health through their grazing habits. Their hooves aerate the soil. Their foraging encourages plant diversity. Their instinctive movement patterns prevent overgrazing. In short, they improve the land rather than deplete it. This is the exact opposite of the environmental struggles tied to modern beef production. Some ranchers now raise mixed herds, using bison to rebuild pastures while cattle graze behind them. Others are transitioning entirely to bison because the economics are more predictable. When feed costs rise, bison remain profitable because they rely so little on purchased inputs. When beef prices fluctuate, bison markets stay steady because demand is tied to quality rather than volume. Taken together, these factors create a persuasive argument that the American bison is poised to become a dominant source of red meat in a future where efficiency and resilience matter more than raw output. Bison is not just a nostalgic symbol of the past. It is becoming one of the most practical solutions for the decades ahead. While bison capture the imagination of the American West, the yak is quietly attracting attention in colder and more mountainous regions. The yak story may surprise people who associate the animal with remote Himalayan plateaus rather than modern North American farms. Yet yak herds have been growing steadily across the United States, especially in states with long winters and challenging terrain. What makes the yak remarkable is its ability to maintain weight on sparse forage, while producing meat that rivals the tenderness of premium beef. Yak meat is naturally low in saturated fat, rich in omega-3s and prized for its mild, silky texture. Chefs describe it as tasting like a cross between beef and venison but without the gaminess that turns some consumers away from alternative red meats. Its unique profile makes it attractive for restaurants looking to offer something familiar yet distinct. From a farm management perspective, yaks solve many of the problems ranchers face with cattle. They consume far less feed, require minimal veterinary intervention and handle extreme cold with ease thanks to their dense undercoat. In regions where winters extend for half the year, cattle often struggle with energy loss, leading to higher feed bills and slower weight gain. Yak ranchers, however, frequently report that the animals maintain excellent body condition through storms and freezing temperatures without extra grain. Their hooves and grazing style also reduce erosion on sloped land, making them well suited to areas where cattle compact soil or trigger runoff. Many small-scale farmers who could not justify a cattle operation have found yak herds to be manageable, profitable and perfectly adapted to their landscape. Consumers have also responded well to yak as a premium niche meat. Farmers' markets in certain states sell out quickly. Online direct-to-consumer sales have expanded. A growing number of health-focused eaters view yak as a superior protein that fits into diets emphasizing natural, low-fat red meat. And because yak is still relatively rare, it commands high prices that support small family farms. But as breeding populations increase and more ranchers explore yak husbandry, there is a growing belief within the industry that yak could fill a much larger role. If climate patterns continue to cool in northern regions or if feed becomes more expensive nationwide, yak will become an attractive replacement for cattle on land where traditional beef production is already under pressure. In other words, the yak represents not just a niche opportunity but a strategic response to the evolving challenges of American agriculture. Then there is the water buffalo, a species still unfamiliar to many Americans despite its global importance. Water buffalo are the backbone of dairy and meat production across parts of Asia, the Middle East and South America. Their adaptability is astonishing. They thrive in wetlands, river valleys, humid climates and areas where cattle struggle with heat stress or parasites. As the United States confronts higher temperatures, longer summers and more erratic rainfall, water buffalo offer a promising alternative capable of producing high-quality meat with fewer environmental constraints. One of the most compelling traits of water buffalo is their ability to grow efficiently on coarse vegetation that cattle find unpalatable. Their digestive system handles marsh grasses, reeds, and crop residues that would otherwise go to waste. This means that water buffalo can produce rich red meat without competing with cattle or humans for feed grains. Their nutrient density is an added bonus. Buffalo meat tends to be lower in cholesterol and higher in minerals than typical beef, yet the flavor remains mild and versatile. It works beautifully in slow-cooked dishes, grilled cuts and processed meats like sausages. The water buffalo also brings something cattle cannot match: dual-purpose value. In many countries, water buffalo milk is used to make iconic dairy products such as mozzarella di bufala. This milk has higher butterfat and protein levels compared with cow milk, giving cheesemakers a premium ingredient that consumers willingly pay more for. As American artisan dairy producers experiment with water buffalo milk, new markets are emerging for buffalo-based cheeses, yogurts, and specialty products. This adds a diversification opportunity for farmers looking to stabilize income by combining meat and dairy operations. Water buffalo also handle wet pastures and flood-prone land that often degrade under cattle herds. Instead of damaging the soil, they support regenerative grazing practices by feeding on plants that thrive in low-lying areas. With climate models predicting more extreme rainfall events in many U.S. states, the ability to use soggy fields productively will become an economic advantage for farmers. Together these three species represent a profound shift in how America may produce protein in the future. The idea that beef could be replaced seemed unthinkable even a decade ago, but the realities shaping agriculture today are changing that conversation. Rising input costs, unpredictable weather, consumer health concerns and land degradation are forcing producers and policymakers to explore practical alternatives. Beef will remain important. It carries cultural weight, economic influence and culinary appeal. But the question many experts are asking is not whether beef will disappear. The question is whether the American bison, the yak and the water buffalo will grow so rapidly in the coming decades that they compete directly with beef for market share. Evidence already points in that direction. Bison production is scaling with strong consumer demand. Yak operations are increasing as farmers learn that its efficiency makes economic sense. Water buffalo enterprises are expanding quietly but steadily, especially among producers seeking resilient options for wet or hot environments. When you look closely, each of these animals aligns with the challenges America faces. Bison strengthen soils and reduce inputs. Yak save feed and tolerate harsh winters. Water buffalo turn difficult land into productive farmland and provide dual streams of income. It is not hard to imagine a future where regions choose the animal best adapted to their climate rather than forcing cattle to perform where they are no longer the most efficient choice. That natural alignment between environment and livestock may become the cornerstone of a more sustainable food system. The transformation will not happen overnight, but you can already see the shift taking shape in the kinds of livestock young farmers are choosing to raise, the foods appearing on restaurant menus and the research universities are funding. As you can see, America's next food revolution is not built on hype. It is driven by practical needs like resilience, efficiency, and the search for better ways to feed a growing population. The animals stepping forward are not replacements born out of trend, but out of real-world performance on real farms. They thrive where cattle struggle, they deliver meat that meets modern expectations, and they open new opportunities for producers adapting to a changing climate and economy. Whether these species fully replace beef or simply share the spotlight, one thing is clear. The future of American protein will be more diverse than anything we have seen before. If you want to understand where food is heading, keep your eye on these rising stars. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments which species you think will grow fastest in the years ahead.